I have suffered from irritable bowel syndrome for around 10 years, and in 2021 I decided to get it under control and started tracking everything that I'd eat in a day, all the supplements that I take, and how my digestion felt that day. I started tracking at the end of 2021 and I'm still tracking to this day, so it's roughly 3 years that I'm doing this. 10 years ago, there was very little information about IBS. The doctor who diagnosed it for me performed a colonoscopy and after not finding anything, gave the advice to stress less and use loperamide for diarrhea. After roughly 5 years, a different doctor, after a colonoscopy, prescribed me some probiotics and said there's nothing we can do. So all these years I was looking for information online and trying different recommendations. At times I would start dozens of experiments with diet and supplements, and it was hard to figure out what was working and what wasn't. So starting a food diary was a logical conclusion. The first thing I learned when I started tracking was about vitamin D. Year after year, I would notice that my digestion was much better during summer. So it made total sense that vitamin D should be the answer. I tried different doses from 4,000 international units per day up to 40,000 international units per day. I tried them in fish oil capsules, regular capsules, and in oil drops. The result was always the same. I felt no difference. It was hard to accept this as fact. I even did blood tests for vitamin D, and they were at a healthy range. The next thing I learned was that all vitamins and minerals, except for one, did nothing for me. Throughout these years, I probably tried all known vitamins and minerals, and I can't attribute any of them to an improvement except for magnesium, which helped me if at times I had a twitching eye. In Lithuania, we have a mineral water brand called Vytautas, which has very high doses of minerals. I would drink it when I was in ketosis to get my electrolytes, but it would give me diarrhea. Too much of a good thing can cause problems. Lesson learned. I learned a lot about probiotics. I tried many different strains, brands, and fermented foods. The most expensive I tried was Dr. O'Hara's probiotics. The results were quite mixed. Saccharomyces boulardii, a strain of probiotics, had a profound effect as it would stop my diarrhea. But just when I stopped taking it, the effect would also stop in a day or two. Another supplement that I took was a blend of different herbs, and it also had Bacillus subtilis together with digestive enzymes, which had a strong noticeable effect, especially when I had an upset stomach. Other probiotics did not affect me and I tried dozens of them. I guess the takeaway is that when they work, you will notice it. Though recent studies recommend taking probiotics for at least 3 months. I also tried doing kombucha at home, which is loaded with probiotics, but it also has a bit of sugar and a little bit of alcohol. Sadly, it made me feel worse, though I love the taste of it. Sauerkraut, on the other hand, tastes horrible, but I would feel a positive effect on my stomach after eating it. I also tried homemade kefir a few times, but this was before I started tracking, so I'm not sure about the results. Overall, I have tried many different herbs, mushrooms, and molecules, but they had no effect or even a negative effect like resveratrol, berberine, or caprylic acid. I would take them with caution. I also tried different diets. Keto and carnivore are great elimination diets to get everything under control if you start feeling that everything that you eat gives you digestive problems. With these diets, you will have a very few bowel movements and you can start feeling normal again. For me though, the problem with these diets is that I have zero energy with them, no matter how much electrolytes I take. Also for me, they were good for the bowels, but I would then get a lot of stomach problems. Though short term they work great. A low FODMAP diet is a diet where you eat foods low in specific molecules that feed different bacteria in your gut and they start fermentation and cause a lot of problems. When you have digestive problems, then you are likely to have an imbalance of gut bacteria, so this diet helps to manage it. I had quite good results with this diet as it would accurately predict if I would have a problem with food or not. Another thing I learned, which is quite recent, is about food additives. I was led to believe that grains are bad and must be gluten sensitive or intolerant, so I would avoid all the pastries. And then one day I had these cookies that were made with flour, butter and sugar. And I had no symptoms after eating them. I'm also lactose intolerant and I have problems with any food that has milk products in it. But I can consume raw milk and nothing happens. The last thing I learned, which ties everything together, and I think I could call it a cure for my irritable bowel syndrome, is intermittent fasting. As I said in the beginning, for many years I have noticed that during summer I started feeling better. It wasn't because of the sun, it wasn't physical activity either. I have tested this vigorously. What usually happened during summer was that I would go out after work to do sports, hang out with friends, etc. This would usually mean that I would skip the last meal of the day and wouldn't eat several hours before bed. And that's what had the most impact on me. Figuring this out wasn't easy. Right now, there is a lot of talk about intermittent fasting, where you limit your eating window. But a lot of the time, the advice is to skip breakfast, and I did that for a long time with no effect. I remember listening to Elon Musk in some interview. He said that he doesn't eat before sleep. And I remember trying that for some time, but I was still eating a very heavy meal at 6 or 7 p.m. and now I know that this wasn't enough. Only recently I tried to skip my last meal and fast till the morning and things started to improve fast. So now I try to finish eating until 6 p.m. and that brings my digestion back to normal. I can now eat anything except for milk, I don't use any supplements and I feel great. I'm not quite sure if I can attribute all of my success to intermittent fasting. Elimination diets and probiotics helped as well. I also moved out of a moldy apartment, which might have an effect. But one thing is certain, if I eat after 6 p.m. my digestive problems come back.